Hello everyone. In today's lecture, we are going to discuss about the Faraday's laws, of induction. So Faraday's law of induction states that whenever we say that the flux linked with any conductor or coil or any circuit in a region changes, the flux linked with the coil or the conductor or circuit changes, there is an induced current or there is a production of current. Now, before producing the current or before inducing the current in the circuit or the conductor, there is an EMF induced. So Faraday's law states that, first law states that there would be an induced EMF when there is change in magnetic flux. If there is change in magnetic flux, there would be induced EMF. And second law states that the EMF is given by minus d phi by dt. Let's see what are those. So Faraday's first law, as we have already seen the experiment, right, that is Faraday's experiment, when there is a magnetic flux linked with the coil changing, right, because of the motion of the conductor or the coil or the source of the magnetic field, there is an induced current in the circuit. Now let's see how it is placed in terms of laws. So first law states that, Faraday's first law states that, let's write that first, Faraday's first law. Faraday's first law states that for change in magnetic flux, for change in magnetic flux in the conductor, there would be EMF induced. Now what is EMF? EMF is nothing but electromotive force. Electromotive force. EMF is nothing but electromotive force. It's just like the potential. Electromotive force. Electromotive force, it is just like the potential. Because when there is a potential difference applied across the conductor, there would be a current in the conductor, which we have already seen in the current electricity. Yes or no? So electromotive force, EMF, is nothing but stored potential. What is that? Stored potential, we call it. Stored potential, why? Because there is no current in the circuit, because of that potential. So because of that potential, when there is a current, that EMF is now called as potential difference. So EMF and potential difference, So EMF is the stored potential when there is no current flowing in the circuit. Potential difference is the potential when there is a current flowing in the circuit. I hope you got the difference between these two. So EMF is induced first, because we need one force to make the charges flow in one direction, and charges flowing in one direction is nothing but current, right? So first law states that for change in magnetic flux in the conductor, there would be EMF induced. And what is EMF? Electromotive force or stored potential. Because of that EMF, there would be current when there is a potential difference between any two ends of the conductor. Suppose this is a conductor. Over here, as you can see. So if I apply one potential or EMF over here, now because of the EMF applied across the conductor, there is a potential difference over here. Because of that potential difference, there would be current in the conductor. I hope you got that right. So first EMF induces, then the current gets induced because of the potential difference across the conductor. So this is the first law. According to first law, for change in magnetic flux in the conductor, because the conductor would be placed in such a region, because of its motion or because of source's motion, there would be change in flux linked with the conductor, and because of that change in flux, there would be induced EMF. That is the statement, and it is given by Faraday's first law. Now the mathematical formula of this statement or mathematical expression for this statement is given in the second law. Let's see that. Now Faraday's second law gives us mathematical expression of the statement which was given in first law. Faraday's second law. So, Faraday's second law states that, or provides the mathematical expression for the statement which was provided in the first law. So, the EMF E, this is our EMF and we denote it by E, okay, this type of E, which is nothing but minus d phi by dt. What is that? Minus d phi by dt. Now, what is d phi and dt? D phi is small change in flux. What is that? Small change in magnetic flux. Let us write magnetic flux, okay, small change in magnetic flux, and dt is small time or an instant. What is that? Or an instant in which d phi change of magnetic flux takes place, okay. dt is the small time or an instant in which d phi change of magnetic flux takes place. I hope that is clear to you, right? So, d phi is the change in magnetic flux in time dt, Therefore, we write EMF E equals to minus d phi by dt, okay. And if the conductor has n number of turns, something like our coil or solenoid, okay, so the EMF induced would be nothing but n times of d phi by dt, okay, where n is the number of turns. What is that? Number of turns, okay. So, this is the EMF induced in a conductor or a coil of n turns, and that is given by minus n d phi by dt. Why there is a negative sign over here now? Because this negative sign, let us write that negative sign shows that the EMF induced or the induced EMF, okay, the induced EMF opposes the change in flux, because the main reason behind the EMF induced is what? Change in flux. So, the EMF induced will be opposing the cause, okay, opposing the cause or opposes the change in flux. The cause over here is nothing but change in flux. So, the EMF induced, okay, will be opposing, after getting induced it will oppose the change, okay, in flux, or it will oppose the cause, whatever may be the cause in order to change the flux, that would be opposed by the EMF induced after getting induced, okay. So, the EMF induced nothing but minus n d phi by dt, where n is nothing but number of turns of the coil, okay, or the conductor or solenoid, you can say for an example, and d phi is nothing but change, small change in flux, and dt is the small time or an instant in which d phi amount of change of flux takes place, okay. I hope that is clear to you. Now, if this is the induced EMF, because of this induced EMF, after some time there would be induced current. Now, that time, the time interval or the gap is very small. As soon as the EMF is induced, after some very small time or very small instants of time, there would be current in the circuit, and that current would be called as induced current, because from Faraday's experiment we directly said that, or we directly concluded that because of the change in flux linked with the coil or the conductor, there would be induced current or production of current. So, these are the steps which follows after the change in flux. When there is a change in flux, there is induced EMF. Because of that induced EMF, there is induced current. So, let us see what is induced current. So, induced current I is given by, we have the EMF or the stored potential. So, we know from current electricity that current I in the circuit is nothing but potential difference about the circuit divided by resistance, isn't it, from Ohm's law. So, what can we write? I equals to E by R, where R is nothing but resistance of the conductor, okay, resistance of the conductor, Clear? So, this is our induced current or the current produced due to the magnetism in a conductor, okay, from Faraday's experiment, and that is given by Faraday's second law, the EMF induced. And if this is the EMF induced, this would be the induced current, and that would be nothing but I equals to minus n d phi by dt into 1 by r, okay, because E is nothing but minus n d phi by dt, where n is the number of turns of the conductor or the coil. I hope you understood that, right? So, I want you to remember this. This is the induced current and this is the induced EMF. As we have seen in current that EMF, the SI unit is volt and current is ampere, isn't it? So, I hope you will remember that. So, now one more thing I want to add in this, that is, if the induced current in a circuit or a conductor of n turns is minus n d phi by dt into 1 by r, what is the amount of charge flowing? I hope you remember the current topic, right? So, in current we wrote I is nothing but amount of charge q crossing the cross section in unit time t. So, I equals to q by t, total current, or I equals to dq by dt, okay, that is dq is the very small amount of charge crossing any cross section in very small time dt. So, that would be the instantaneous current, right? So, if anybody asks you, or if there is a question, what would be the charge flowing across the conductor in any time t, okay. So, how do we find out that? Let us see, okay. Now, as we already have seen, the EMF induced is given by minus n d phi by dt, isn't it? And the current, because of the induced EMF, there would be induced current. So, induced current is minus n d phi by dt into 1 by r, isn't it? Because I equals to E by r. So, this is the current and this is the EMF. What is the amount of charge? As we already know, since I equals to dq by dt, that is instantaneous current, small amount of charge dq flowing in instant dt or very small interval of time dt, okay. So, if I write this over there, over here, so therefore, dq by dt would be equals to minus n d phi by dt into 1 by r, isn't it? So, over here what can we see? dq equals to minus n d phi by r. So, this is the amount of charge which is flowing in a circuit, okay, or a conductor, okay, or a coil of n turns whose resistance is r for d phi amount of change in flux, okay, or magnetic flux. I hope you got that. So, this is our current minus n d phi by dt into 1 by r, and this is our EMF, because of which the current is induced, that is minus n d phi by dt, and this is the amount of charge which flows across the conductor to give us that amount of current, okay. I hope that is clear to you. So, that was all about Faraday's law of induction, okay. Thank you.